Mic check, mic check. It's always interesting talking with a mask, is mic set up properly. But nice to be here. Will, you and me again, talking
Yes,
about Nostr.
traveling the world, trying to purple pill the world on the
Yeah.
Nostra vision.
I mean, do you need a reason more than like just if you join Nostr, you will travel the world like me and Will and do panels on Nostr, right? Show of hands. How many people here are on Nostr?
Nice.
Oh my God, nice. Well, we should get more of those people. They're not in here, so we can purple pill. So, Will,
Yes.
what is Nostr for you?
Yeah, Nostr is, with Bitcoin we have free speech money, but a big issue online is that all of the control, in some sense, of speech online is within a handful of tech companies who actually don't have our interests in mind. They really only care about making money, and we are just cattle and sheep to be milked or to be sheared for money. So we don't have a protocol like we do with Bitcoin. With Bitcoin we have free, actually freedom money. But like, what is the equivalent for free speech online? And I think that this is what Nostr represents. It's like we're exploring this new idea. We're exploring this new space of protocols and networks where we can, bring that vision to reality. And there has been lots of attempts at this, but I think Nostr is actually the best attempt so far. And there's a lot of Bitcoiners in the space, so it's a lot of fun to work on it.
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's all about the fact that this purple pill, this part of Freedom Tech, the protocol to talk and communicate with other people, it goes so well with the orange pill. Like my favorite thing lately, and especially for those of you in crowd that didn't raise hand, you're not on Nostr, is onboarding people on Nostr, opening their Lightning address. So now when they post, like, I can zap them indefinitely. And after this session, I would actually love whoever is not on Nostr, please approach me so I can do the same for you. But it's that combination that you really pushed for it with zaps.
Yeah, I mean, like the existing fiat maxi corporations, they could care less about Bitcoin. Like Elon doesn't care about Bitcoin. Mark Zuckerberg doesn't care about Bitcoin because they've made their money in the fiat system, and they don't like what do they care about integrating Bitcoin, right? So I feel like this is our chance of building. It's the plebs building, a free speech protocol with Bitcoin integration because anyway. So yeah, what was the question?
No, the question is like how that does that purple pill goes well with orange pill for you, and you have
Right.
answered it. I mean, but for me, how did you get involved with Nostr? What's the origin story?
Yeah, I mean, I've always been fascinated in terms of how protocols can have a huge impact on humanity, right? And we saw that. I think Bitcoin was the first time it reminded people, oh wait, we built this beautiful thing called the internet, and you can actually build stuff on this technology that actually will have a huge positive impact on humanity. So I really feel like there was a time where everyone was starting to use centralized solutions like Gmail and all these centralized technology, but the internet was built around this idea of decentralized protocols where no one entity has control. Like imagine if email was just run by Facebook and every communication was monitored and they said what you're allowed to email and what you're not allowed to email. There's a reason why we built our technology on this this system, which is resistant to control from like centralized entities. So yeah, I think Bitcoin really reminded us of that, and I always wanted to see like what can we do next? Like how can we use protocols to empower people, empower individuals, and increase digital sovereignty? So free speech just seemed like one of the things that was extremely lacking on the internet. You see it like increasingly so since like 2014. I feel like it really started taking off, where politicians felt that if they just controlled information, if they controlled the way that people think, if they control what people say, then they would have more power over them and they could control us. But we need to break free from that, and we need technology to support that.
Yeah, I mean, everyone here is on Twitter or X, right? Who has seen their impressions, number of views of their posts go down? Like, I would think pretty much everyone. And that's what worries me the most is like when Elon decides to direct attention to certain topic, like Bitcoin,
Like
those
himself,
impressions.
usually most of the time.
Well, there is that easy Elon switch, and there is no such switch in Nostr. Like that's what it's all about, right?
Yeah, I mean, that's the thing, and like that's always going to be the concern when you have one person in control of. The scariest thing is the algorithm, right? So on Twitter, there's basically one algorithm which decides what you see every day, and actually, you notice this very drastically when you're not on Twitter. Like I noticed, like when I left Twitter probably probably the start of this year, and I talk to people who are on Twitter, and they just have like their mind is different. Like they are basically controlled by the algorithm. Like the things that they're angry about, the things that they're sad about, it's basically driven by whatever the algorithm is pumping into their feed any given day. And it makes sense because the algorithm is meant to drive engagement, whether it's, they don't care if it's making you happy. They don't care if it's making you sad. They just want you to click, right? So if they can get you angry, if they can get you like, oh, then the algorithm is going to promote that type of content. And this is something we noticed really early on in Nostr is that people just don't seem to be people seem to be happier when there's no algorithm. But there's trade-offs, right? Like algorithms are useful to like, keep up on what your friends are doing and not always being online. But there's also some serious downsides, and there's some serious downsides when one egomaniac is in control of that algorithm and can start pushing like Dogecoin stuff to like people. I don't know. Like there's huge like risks in terms of Bitcoin adoption in the world when it's controlled by people like this who just don't care about Bitcoin's mission.
Yeah, and what you mentioned about people's personalities even being different on Nostr. Like I see Lynn Alden there. Her posts on Nostr are phenomenal. I don't know, like.
But and she gets the most zaps on the network. Like this, and that's the thing though. It's like if you bring positivity into the world, people on the network will reward you for that because they find it refreshing, and so if people haven't tried it yet, like seriously, just go out there, put yourself out there, and try just put out good content, and people will find you, people will like it, and they'll send you Bitcoin for that. And like, what's better than that, right?
Yeah, and you won't be part of the algorithm, but rather we are building a new network where really the goal is to have algorithms selected by those who, you select your algorithm. I know you did some work on this.
Yeah, I mean, the issue isn't that the fact that there's like, algorithms aren't the issue. Like, in some sense, Damus has an algorithm, which is a chronological feed. You could call it an algorithm. The problem is having one algorithm that someone else decides for you. So, the direction that Nostr is moving is this marketplace of algorithms where you get to pick and choose the types of things you want to see, and it's not up to some other person who doesn't have your interest in mind to make that decision for you. And that person doesn't. And that person is, they have too much power. So we need to remove that power. We need to take back control, and let's build the feeds that we want to see. And it's more humane, and it's just it's the right way to do it, I think.
When I was joining Nostr, which is now like 2 years ago, I thought that was the perfect moment to join Nostr because we had all that censorship on Twitter. We, had that board of Twitter that was still was banning people left and right. But then Elon came, and I was hoping, things will be better. But it actually got worse. From my perspective.
Yeah, and so we call Elon our chief marketing officer at Nostr because like every time he just does something stupid, which is very often, we get surges of users on the Nostr. So he's been a really useful employee.
Yeah, let's go, Elon. In that sense, like, what about current moment when it comes to Nostr like excites you the most? Obviously, we had Nostrika this year, which was phenomenal conference in March that Jack Dorsey like literally spun up, and the second edition Nostrasia now in Tokyo is coming in November. But is that what you're most excited about, or there are other things that are happening?
Yeah, I mean, more generally, I just feel like the Nostr community, what we're at now, I think we're at like around 10,000 to 20,000 active users. And the people within that community just truly care about free speech and free money, and it's just like it's the most interesting group of people, and it's like a very refreshing group of people. Because I've been in the Bitcoin community since like 2010, and typically go to the same conferences, and everyone we talk about the same things, and so I feel like Nostr represents something really exciting, And it's not just the same type of people. Like we're bringing on people who might not care about Bitcoin, and we're getting them excited about Bitcoin. Like I say like Nostr is like the Trojan horse, to like orange pill normies. Yeah, because it's like it's just fun. It's a fun community to be a part of, and it's not as serious. And we're stacking sats while we're having fun. So
Yeah, stacking zaps. I mean, for me, really, like, how do you see that we're going to expand upon those 10 to 20,000 people? Like, what? From my perspective, it's always been these waves of Jack Dorsey joins. Now usage goes up. Like, you agree that that will be the approach in the future, or?
yeah, I mean, so there's two things the two ways I look at it. One is the getting famous people on board. Like people get excited when they see like their favorite influencer join the network. So that's always going to be a thing that's bringing on new people. But I've always said that what are we actually doing here? We're not just building like a different social network. We're building this ecosystem of interoperable applications. And every time someone adds a new application to this network, they get to inherit all the network effects. So there's very strong incentives for companies to get on board and bring their customers and bring their experience onto the network. And I feel like this is going to really snowball in a really powerful way. And I think this is actually one way we could win against big tech, because the biggest problem is big tech has the network effects. Everyone wants to be a part of the biggest crowd, right? So if we're gonna beat them, we need to find a way to like amplify our network effects, and the protocol is set up to do that very efficiently.
So it is a network effect, but it's also the technology, the way it's built, it allows unique use cases. Because with Nostr, again, when you set up Nostr account properly, it's the easiest way to stack sats, really. Like you just publish content, get your sats. And for me, it's really exciting to be part of this journey. As you say, like it's a new group of people. It's a new crowd. And that's what I've experienced 6 years ago with BTC Pay Server. Like that's how we coalesced on Twitter, moving from Bitcoin Talk, from Reddit. Twitter was that new frontier. And that's what I see for Nostr right now. Like, and it's so grateful to be able to be part of another journey like that. And Nostrasia, that's coming up in November 1st to 3rd. Like, I wish I see like a lot of you join that. Like, it's in a month, but if you can make the trip, it will be phenomenal. Because besides you, Will, like we do have Dorsey, we do have Snowden.
Speaking.
Who are other people you're excited for when it comes to that conference?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think mainly Snowden, because it's cool to see him talk. I haven't seen the full roster. I don't know exactly who's coming, but everyone within the community is amazing, and there's so many interesting people building really interesting stuff. So every time I like go to these things, it's like there's like 20 new clients, and so the best thing is I never know what I'm gonna find there. It's kind of exciting. So yeah, that's what I'm most looking forward to. I'm probably going to be surprised. And that's awesome that and this is like not even that long ago I ran our last conference, and yeah.
Plus, it is a local Japanese community. Like Japanese culture is like quite different in that sense. Is that in order for social network to succeed in Japan, like LinkedIn, no one uses LinkedIn in Japan, But Twitter, absolutely crazy usage. For Nostr, that's the second biggest population like on Nostr.
This is the most interesting story I think in Nostr is, so the Japanese community, they've built custom clients that are just specifically for their culture, that is like good, that has like really nice text input and things that like North Americans, that they don't really care, like they don't think about the things that Japanese users need, right? They run their own relays within their own country that you can only access it with if you're in the country. So they're basically using it as like a toolkit to build their own social network within their country. And I'm like, this just showcases the power of this technology, that like it can be adapted to different locales, and they can build their own tool sets, they build their own experiences and their own clients. So yeah, I just think that's an amazing, powerful thing.
It is, and Nostr to me as a cypherpunk really aligns with cypherpunk philosophy in a sense that the biggest truth that I think cypherpunks have uncovered is that information wants to be free. Like if you can align yourself with that truth, that axiom, that information wants to be free, and build systems in such a way like that facilitate that, like you're going to do great. I know you will. Like you have built systems that make information free, and you have suffered for it. You know, you mentioned Japan. What about China? What about Apple and App Store?
Yeah, like it's I thought it'd be like a walk in the park. I'm just kind of building this fun little side project on this like new protocol. I'm like, oh yeah, this is it's gonna be harmless. No one's gonna care about it. Within 2 days after I launched on the App Store in China, the CCP took down my app. So now I proudly put like I'm banned in China on my profile. It's like a badge of honor. And then Apple also didn't really like the fact that we had a Bitcoin Zap button on posts. They claimed it was like encouraging selling digital content, which is ridiculous because you're not selling anything when you tip a post. It's already there. So I think Apple is they're threatened. They want that 30% tax on all digital purchases in their app store, which is absolutely insane, by the way. Makes no sense. And I think they're going to be fighting a losing battle. Like you can't stop Zaps. It's just an idea. It's a protocol, and people can still send you Zaps from Android. So I think they're just going to alienate a lot of their customers. A lot of the customers are going to want this feature, especially if Zaps are in a lot of different applications. Then it'll be like banning a hyperlink in a web browser. It won't make any sense at some point. So my hope is that they'll just bring back Note Zaps, but we'll see.
Yeah, my hope too. But we're coming to the end of this panel. I did wanna, before I ask my final question, like, do we have any questions in the audience here? So the question is, what are we most excited when it comes to onboarding experience?
Yeah, I mean, like this is something that Nostr clients right now are very, very, very bad at, and it's our most requested feature. So, we could do a lot better in terms of suggesting people to follow, like suggesting hashtags to follow. We have a new feature in Damus that we're going to be releasing very soon, where we can follow hashtags. So it would make sense to suggest those. But yeah, we're still very early days in the onboarding experience, and but what we're going to see is lots of different clients are going to try different things, and that's the beautiful thing about this protocol is that there's not one approach to this, and there's going to be many different approaches. So yeah, it's still very, very early, but
I honestly was dreaming onboarding experience that was like you open Nostr client, you click to log in with Twitter, and everything is moved. But then Elon blocked us, right? You would love that, but we were blocked, and these walled gardens of social media are closing down. Like I think Nostr succeeds as people, more and more people start realizing that whatever is on Twitter, on Facebook, it can be taken down. But what is on Nostr can't be taken down. And that's how we win. We have another question.
Can you tell us what the adoption curve is looking like and what you think the big catalysts will be in the next couple of years?
Yeah, at the start of the network, I think Damus on the App Store, we got like 300,000 downloads. So there was a huge spike. When Jack Dorsey came on, obviously like everyone was super hyped. But they come in waves. Like we got a huge spike, it's down. And whenever some like famous person joins, it spikes. But it's definitely going up. But it's slow. It's very much like a Bitcoin style adoption curve where it's people don't really know about it yet. It's still very early. Imagine like when Bitcoin first came out. That's kind of where we're at with Nostr. So this is going to be a long-term thing. I think probably with 5 to 10 years, it'll be growing slowly, but who knows?
For me, it's the fact that network has that core, that community that will stay on no matter what happens. And that's what you can see, like even how hard it is to kickstart a new social network. You could just look at Threads. I mean, it's already dead, right? And Facebook launched that and invested all the resources they have. So for me, it's just that Nostr already has that core community, and that core community stays on Nostr, keeps building. And then events like this, we should absolutely use them to onboard more people, especially Bitcoiners. But non-Bitcoiners as well, because Nostr is more than a social network. It is a protocol. What you were saying about Mutiny Wallet, the way they use, that's an interesting. Can you explain that, how it works, like an address book?
Yeah, I mean, so if you think about Nostr, like the different types of data you can have on Nostr, one is something called the contact list, and it's very simple. It's just all the people you follow. But that data is all public on the relays. So if you're any application, if you're some business and you want an address book with like lightning addresses on them, you can just tap into Nostr and pull that. And that's what Immunity Wallet did. Is like they just have a way to like look up a whole bunch of Bitcoiners using Nostr. So it's things like that. It's like you can, if you're a company, you can integrate very nicely into the network and find those use cases, which are pretty cool.
Yeah. So to summarize the answer to your question, it's like adoption in waves with big influencers joining, and then unique use cases that you can only see on Nostr. When is streaming coming to Damus?
I mean, I just added it like 2 days ago. So.
Oh, there you go.
Well, I didn't add it. One of our contributors added it, but. So yeah, we have live stream support. So if you put like an M3U8 link in your post, it'll do it. But in terms of like the full like Zap stream style like listing of streams, we haven't done that yet. But yeah, we'll get there.
One of the things I love on Nostr is like the developers that we have on Nostr. I need to free myself up just to join your Rockstar devs, but you as a developer, you're amazing. And then Zapstream, like you checked out that website, right? How many Zapstream users here? See, we need to pump those numbers because it's an amazing streaming platform on Nostr, and it's done by Kieran, who is again
Amazing.
Rockstar amazing.
Yeah.
You saw that Snort Social. Did anyone hear about that client? That's the client he did, and he offered to sell it for 200 kilograms of cocaine. You saw that? So just so you know, Nostr clients are very valuable, it seems. Any final questions? And
All
if
right.
not, Will, when are you flying to Tokyo?
I'll be in Tokyo. I'm sure. Like I think I'll be there October 30th or something.
30th?
I have no idea. You do the scheduling. Ask my Amsterdam first. We'll be in Bali and then Tokyo. So.
Okay, that's exactly what I wanted to. Yeah. Please, a round of applause for Will. And I wanted you to hear his itinerary so that all you join Nostr, and then we travel around the world and do Nostr panels. Let's go. Thank you.
All right. Thank you.
Oh, hi. Do you have your ticket to the next Pacific Bitcoin Festival? Join us as we shine a light on the best of Bitcoin and Bitcoiners. Visit pacificbitcoin.com for the best deal on tickets now.